want to wrap on Caleb Williams. So there are certain things he doesn't do with consistency. His personality isn't terribly consistent. He can get very emotional. His accuracy isn't always consistent. And my feeling is on Caleb Williams, unlike Brady, where you know exactly what you're getting, and kind of like Jalen Hurts, you kind of know what you get and know what you don't get. Caleb is a bit of a roller coaster, personality, accuracy. So as I watch him eat the Cowboys for lunch, my take is he's going to come out this week and he's going to struggle. And you just have to come to terms with he has all this horsepower. But what Josh Allen has done to eliminate the reckless, I don't think he can do. I think they're different personalities. And as I watch Caleb, I'm like, we just have to get comfortable with the fact that he is going to drive Ben Johnson crazy about every other series. I watched Ben Johnson's body language. Caleb drove him crazy 6 times. And maybe that's just what he is.
So, well, listen, it took Josh Allen 6 years to stop to stop being a roller coaster. A guy who right now I think is in the midst of it is Jordan Love, who when he's good, he's great, and when he's bad, he gives the game away to the Browns. You know, so that can be a process. I don't necessarily agree with you, Colin, that I think this week Caleb's going to have a down game. Where I do agree with you is he seems like, because of the right now, I would say, this sounds too harsh and I don't mean it to, but emotional immaturity. Just the fact that he kind of lives and dies with each play.
Yes.
That I think that he is the type of player who, when he is having a great game, it's going to lead to a greater game. And if he misses a few throws, it can snowball against him. So I think a lot of it has to do with how a game starts, and then does he avoid a pitfall early, and then it can be a game like we saw this weekend. So, but I also think there is a huge opportunity for the Bears this weekend. They play the Raiders, then they have the bye. Yeah. If they can beat the Raiders and even themselves at 2-2, then they have the bye. Then the next week, Colin, is the game against the team that ended their season last year effectively in the Commanders and Jaden Daniels. They'd be coming off a bye. They'd be 2-2. So I think this is a critical spot for Caleb and Ben to beat the Raiders, steady yourself, have 2 weeks to have that, you know, Caleb versus Jaden, Bears versus Commanders game, and then see where he's at. But I do think it's going to be fits and starts. But you've seen already through 20 games of the kid's career, the overall talent level is so high that even if he doesn't fully tighten up everything else, his floor is going to be relatively high. And if he does tighten up the other stuff, he unequivocally can be the guy that I know coming out of college, you and I both thought he would be, which is one of the very best quarterbacks in the league.
Wow. Some of those takes, about Caleb Williams being emotional and that he needs to start off well and things can snowball. Caleb Williams has not shown any of that. At all. But before we get started, please do consider subscribing. I just had an aha moment. I really did. And I'm so fired up. I'm done messing around. So please do subscribe. Watch this video all the way through. It really helps me tremendously. I am on a mission right now. I want to get to 100,000 subscribers. I want to get 1,000 subscribers for each team because I just want to be able to create the best possible content for each team out there that I possibly can. And I'm starting with the teams that I actually genuinely care about, teams that I really, really want to talk about. You know, I'm reaching out to the Bears. I'm reaching out to the Seattle Seahawks. I'm reaching out to the Eagles, to the Commanders. These are the teams that I know. These are the teams that I want to talk about the most. This is the fan base that I rely on to watch the videos, to comment, you know, to really build the foundation of this community. So please do it because again, I'm making this video in the middle of the night and I'm just like, enough. enough. My mind is racing with all the takes that we hear, and you can always trust that I keep it 100%. That I'm not here to try to manipulate a take, to try to just say, Caleb Williams is the greatest quarterback ever. Caleb Williams is the worst quarterback ever. It's like, here is for nuance. Here is for reality. Here is to find the truth of the moment and not just whatever, right? Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, you can always trust that I'm at least giving it as truthfully as I see it. So please do subscribe. I'm just, I'm enough. I just want to get after it. And I can only do that with the help of you guys. But this idea that Caleb Williams is emotional. I'm emotional. You see me being emotional right now. Like, I don't understand what people are inventing about Caleb Williams. He's emotional. He's this. He if he doesn't get off to a good start and if things aren't going off too good, they can snowball. Caleb was missing throws even in a great game against the Dallas Cowboys. That didn't snowball. That didn't derail him. He was having last season with terrible coaching, a mess of an O-line. He was having the first halves be going nowhere. He was his whole season was going nowhere. Let's be real here. That season got derailed. Like, it was going nowhere. Did he crumble? Did he individually get derailed? Did he turn into a turnover machine? Was he starting to do things where you're just like, what is this guy doing? This guy's not going to be in the NFL if he keeps that up. He didn't do that at all. It was actually the most impressive thing that he showed me was last year, was his resilience. And then we're going to start to evoke Tom Brady. Like, Tom Brady? Like, come on, man. And listen, I'm all for using Jalen Hurts as an example. I just used him as an example earlier today, referring it to Lamar Jackson, and I think it is Jalen Hurts' superpower, but that's Jalen Hurts' superpower. Like, that's his superpower. It's like referencing and be like, come on, you got to find the mobility like Lamar Jackson. It's like, well, that's Lamar Jackson's mobility is his superpower. So, like, it's like, come on. If Caleb Williams continued to be emotional or whatever, and now Caleb really reaches a level of greatness, and we're like, bro, this guy's awesome, he's balling, but like, yeah, he's too emotional on the sidelines, or he needs to be consoled. It's like, yeah, then we can start to evoke a Tom Brady, Jalen Hurts, etc. Which is why I did that for Lamar. I'm like, Lamar, you got all these things going for you. Like, this is the next stage, and like, look what Jalen Hurts. I was like, that reference makes a lot of sense to me, but it's just like, this is not necessary. And I don't look at Caleb Williams and think, if he was just had a little bit more emotional stability, he would be a better quarterback right now. That's not this guy's been dealing with the circus from the jump. Both internally and externally. And then again, you want to talk about Josh Allen. First off, that's a nonsense thing that it took all these years for Josh Allen. He wasn't just reckless. The Buffalo Bills were like, we need you to be Superman every single game. Every single time you got the ball in your hands, we just need you to go for it, or we have no chance at winning. And so Josh Allen's like, okay. But when he actually had a smart coach, when he had a great coordinator, whether Brian Daboll or Brady, like, then they were like, hey, we can play more balanced football. It wasn't like just like he was just randomly reckless just for fun. And now Caleb is very fortunate to have a Ben Johnson. And Caleb's not reckless. And if anything, the better argument, and I pointed this out to you all a couple days ago, because it was in the most recent Buffalo Bills game against the Miami Dolphins, they really continue to highlight how Josh Allen's mechanics have changed over the years. They actually did the same thing recently, I think actually this past summer, with Daniel Jones and his mechanics and his release point of the, his arm angle. And they were showing with Josh Allen, like how his shoulders were and how he's getting more power from his lower body. For those of you who don't know, like, all the power really comes from your lower body. Coaches always say, like, here, sit in a chair and try to swing a bat or throw a ball. See how far you can throw it. Can't really throw it that far. It all comes from the thighs. All comes from the lower body. It's like an old coaching trick. And it's true. And so, they're showing him how he's being more explosive with his hips and, and again, how his shoulders are more balanced. And so he's able to deliver the ball more accurately. And so it's like, all of that is a skill set that he can learn. And then just saying, like, I don't think Caleb Williams has that in him. Like, what are you, like, since when? When Caleb Williams, when Ben Johnson was first hired, Caleb Williams reportedly was just like, let's get after it. Teach me everything. Like, Caleb Williams wants to be great. He wants to win. And again, I'm not going to tell you and pretend to you that he's got like the most perfect mentality, or that from an emotional standpoint, he's just like this. Like, I'm not saying that either. But like, they're acting like this is Baker Mayfield year one, or like Baker Mayfield's still like yelling and chirping at people. And I'm like, I don't got time for that nonsense. And we're Lamar Jackson to this day is still slamming the football on the ground when he gets sacked, or he legitimately needed to be consoled on the sideline against the Detroit Lions. Like, I find that concerning. I find that actually like genuinely concerning, because it's like, well, you are the leader. Like, you are a seasoned veteran. Like, you are elite. You are special. Like, nobody's got time for that. And Caleb Williams has plenty of growth in that aspect of his game, but it's not currently a liability for him. It's not currently an issue. Did you see Trevor Lawrence? Did his new coach, Liam Cohen, literally be like, whatever, man? Like, his coach was literally saying, like, hey, you made the wrong type of throw. For those of you who don't know, maybe, for when you're a quarterback, like, there's different types of throws, right? Sometimes it's going to be like, when certain things happen, it's either going to be like a back shoulder. Sometimes it's going to be more of like a line drive type pass, or you're going to have to get a little bit more air on it. There's all different types. It's not like, hey, I see a guy there and I just throw it. It's different types of throws. And so, in a nutshell, Liam Cohen was like, hey, like, you threw the wrong type of throw in this moment. Like, hit him in the chest right here for that. And Trevor Lawrence was just like, yeah, whatever. And just completely like, psh, I don't got time for you. And it was just like, are you serious? This is the coach who's trying to save your career right now. If it doesn't work with Liam Cohen, then Trevor, you don't work with the Jacksonville Jaguars. You're not inevitable. At this point, people have more belief in Liam Cohen than they do you. And it's just like, that's not the energy that we get from Caleb Williams. That's not what we get the energy. But again, you know what? I will say this about Caleb. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, though. Because think about it. No one's talking about Trevor Lawrence. They were both set up to be generational talents. They were both set up to be one of the greatest #1 overall pick, franchise defining quarterbacks. And like, no one's talking about Trevor Lawrence, because like, nobody cares. Nobody cares, not only because it's Trevor Lawrence, also the Jacksonville Jaguars. But if Trevor Lawrence even played for the Chicago Bears, I don't think anyone would care that much, honestly. I really don't. I really don't. We don't talk about Justin Fields when he was with Chicago as much as we talk about Caleb Williams. So people still see the greatness in Caleb. So I think it ends up being a net positive, honestly. I really do. I think it's a net positive, but regardless, Caleb still has plenty of work to do. Plenty, I answered this question before. Did Caleb quiet the critics with this win? Like, not to me, no. I think what he did against the Dallas Cowboys, like, and I was very clear about this, it's like, I expect him to do that. I know he can do that. That was not a critic quieting game for me. I expect him to be able to hit men who are wide open in the NFL. And I know Ben Johnson can scheme guys wide open with the best of them. Like, there's not a single doubt in my mind about that. But yeah, there are things that do drive Ben Johnson crazy. And Caleb is still missing opportunities and is still, being a little bit inaccurate. Like, I'd rather him be inaccurate for wide open throws than just not seeing the wide open, or not seeing the right throw, because that drives coaches like even more mad, and that's harder to teach. If you're with a degree of consistency, just missing the guy that you should be throwing it to, which was highlighted a little bit more with, I think it was with Troy Aikman, he was calling that game. That's a lot harder to fix. That's a lot harder to fix. But if you're now making the right read and the right throw, but it's just being a little bit, just not as accurate, that to me is a much more solvable problem than anything else. It's why Sean Payton was like, get rid of Russell Wilson. Like, he's not even making it's not that he's delivering these throws inaccurately. It's like, I'm setting him up for a throw and he's just not even seeing it. Like, it's not even on his radar. Like, there's nothing at this point in your career, there's nothing I can do to help you. And so, you know, that's really what I liked most about at least the Dallas Cowboys game. It's not the total yards, not the total touchdowns. Like, you know, those types of stats come and go all day. You can have a much better game than Caleb's box score and throw for 210 and 1 touchdown, honestly, right? So it's never, to me, just about these bottom line stats, especially when you're talking about clearly a pretty terrible Cowboys defense. So, you know, Caleb still needs to evolve. Caleb still needs to grow. It will be interesting to see how he plays in this follow-up game, because there is a lot of momentum. There is a lot of belief. I'm fascinated to see if he can be able to maintain that. You know, we'll have to wait and see. I think that, you know, listen, the Raiders haven't been playing very good, but they're still feisty. I don't think they're a terrible team by any stretch of the imagination. And if Geno Smith can get a little bit more grounded and they can get Ashton Genty going, then this will be a tougher game. It's hard for me to gauge the Raiders defense right now, considering who they've played. So it'll be interesting to see how the Chicago Bears fare and Caleb Williams. I don't think, you know, regardless of how I view this Raiders defense right now, I don't think it's anything that's where you're just going to be like, phew, this is going to be harder for Caleb to navigate. You know, it's a lot easier than the Cowboys, like, you know, or a lot harder, you know, yeah, it's a lot easier with the Cowboys. Like, I don't think you're necessarily getting that situation here. But, you know, Justin Herbert, I don't want to say he had his struggles against the Raiders defense, but you would expect them to have an easier go at it. And so I'm excited to see what Ben Johnson has schemed up for Caleb against a defense like this, and, you know, seeing if he can continue to execute it. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams, and him just being so emotional? It's just too emotional, man. Just too emotional. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.